Welcome to Wicked Web Wednesdays with me, Chris Davidson. Today's topic, testing, an incredibly important and often neglected aspect of information technology. If I think back to my days of working for IBM in the early 1990s when I worked at their telecommunications research laboratory in the south of France, it was a group of software engineers just a little way down the corridor, incredibly clever people. Each of them had a brain the size of a planet. And they were engaged in this very complex piece of software that itself did tested other software. And to create a little bit of camaraderie between themselves, they had some t-shirts printed that they could all wear to work, which was a little bit revolutionary in those days, to be honest. And these t-shirts were black, and they had the IBM logo in white, just here, top left. And that was considered very naughty in those days because, of course, the IBM logo is always in blue, isn't it? And they printed this in white. And you'd see these people come down the corridor and your eye would be drawn to the fact that they had the IBM logo in the wrong color. But the real revolution happened as they walked past you and you followed them down the corridor, and on the back of their t-shirts was written this: if it isn't tested, it doesn't work. That was true then, and it's true now. And let me tell you a story to illustrate that, and then I'll relate how that story impacts you and how you use information technology, develop information technology, and test information technology within your business. Mary is very, very excited because Mary has the opportunity to purchase the car that she has always dreamt of owning. A lovely two-door electric coupe with electric leather seats. She's placed the order. It's going to be with her soon. She is so excited. The order goes off to the factory and the building process starts and the seats are being put together. And at the end of the production process for the seat is tested to make sure that all the electrics work. Does the electric heating in the seat work? Do the buttons work? Does it move forwards, backwards? Does it recline, etc.? So the seat is tested to make sure that the seat is a valid piece of the car. That is called unit testing. So the seat is tested as a unit. It's then passed on to the production line to be fitted into the car. And the seat is then taken to the car and it's put together into the car, and oh my goodness gracious me, we hit a problem. Where the wiring loom is supposed to plug into the seat, there's a gap of about 30 centimeters, 12 inches. There's just not enough slack in the electric cable for it to plug in. What's going on? They look into this problem and they discover that the people who design the seats and make the seats, in fact, moved the socket, the electric socket for the seat. They moved it further away for some particular reason, but they forgot to tell the people who were installing the wiring looms in the car. And so there's this gap. So although the seat is a perfectly valid working seat, the seat has failed the integration test with the car. A perfectly valid unit, but it doesn't work where it is supposed to work. Okay, they make up some sort of jumper cable, the problem is solved, so we now have a valid unit and it is integrated, it passes integration test, and that's fine. The rest of the car is built, and the very final point as the car comes off the production line is to test the entire car. We call this a systems test. Does everything in this system, this car, does it all work the way it is supposed to work? Do the wipers work? Does the horn work? Do all the lights work? Do the warning lights work? Is there a spare tire, etc., etc., etc.? Everything that is supposed to be in the system is tested. The car is then shipped to the dealer network. The car salesman, Tom, rings Mary up, says, Mary, your car is going to be here tomorrow. We'd love to hand the car over to you. Mary is incredibly excited and goes to pick her car up the next day. She sees the car in the corner of the showroom, covered with a blanket waiting to be uncovered in her presence. Tom takes the cover off, says, Mary, there's your new car. I'm so excited for you. Mary runs forward, opens the door and says, Tom, I wanted red seats. These are beige. The car has just failed UAT, User Acceptance Test. It's a perfectly valid car. There's nothing wrong with it. Everything in the system, the car, works. Every subset of the system is integrated well, and every unit within the system works. On this side of the board, it's valid. On this side of the board, it's not valid. The user rejected the system, the car, because the user wanted red leather seats, not beige leather seats. There's a quick rundown of the different points of testing. Now, why is this important to you? All of this information here is important to you because this allows you to ask really intelligent questions of the people from whom you are purchasing technology, websites and the like, and you can keep these people on their toes. So let me create an example off the top of my head. Active Campaign. I simply mention that because it's a system I use and I'm familiar with. So let's say that you're going to move to Active Campaign, you're going to implement Active Campaign within your business, and you're going to create some quite complex email automation sequences, which you can do within Active Campaign. And because they're quite complex, you get somebody to help you with that. It's fine. Perfectly valid questions that you could ask of those people then are, how are you going to make sure that the automation sequence you create is valid in its own right? What testing are you going to do to ensure that the automation sequence is actually valid? What testing are you going to do to integrate that automation sequence into Active Campaign as it is implemented within my business? Integration. How do you propose that we test the entire system once it is complete? That is to say, there is an Active Campaign form that is now resident on my website, and the Active Campaign form feeds the information back to Active Campaign. The sequence goes on, an email is sent to the user over here, they register for a webinar, etc., etc., etc. How are we going to test that entire system? And then, when all of that is done, you need to look at it from a UAT perspective, user acceptance testing, so that you can check things that are particular to you. For example, within the template for the email that has been constructed within Active Campaign, is it using the right colors? Is it using the right fonts? Have they got the right version of the logo? This is all valid UAT material. You see the difference between the different levels of testing in these systems. Because you are able now to ask you're able to ask important questions at these different levels, I can assure you, you will definitely get a different level of service from the people who are helping you. You can imagine the telephone call, can't you? The telephone call with the website designer, and you casually say towards the end of the call, "That sounds absolutely great, Jim. Thanks very much. Look, I'll drop you an email with my thoughts on UAT." Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. Oh, heck, we've got a client who knows what they're doing. Take my point? These are the sort of topics that we're going to cover on Wicked Web Wednesdays, material that helps you get the best out of web technology for your business. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. Make sure that you click on the subscribe button and also click on the little bell so you get notified of updates for future videos. Thank you very much for watching. Another episode coming right up. Bye now.